And we're here live from the Beer,
Bourbon,
and Barbecue
Festival
with Art of the Drink
and BourbonBlog.com. Well, you know, to me, Maker's Mark is the easiest bourbon to mix because Maker's Mark, they took all the rye out, they took all the bitterness out. You know, a lot of people don't realize it. You know, they think Jack Daniels is the same thing as a bourbon and all that stuff. And really, you know, the Lincoln County process is great, but it takes a lot of flavor out. Maker's Mark is able to remove the bitterness and still retain all of the flavor that you want with the dark liquor. So to me, this is my bourbon of choice. It's actually my dark spirit of choice, is Maker's Mark.
And when it comes to mixing bourbon in a cocktail, I mean, Maker's Mark, we've always found is the way to go.
Oh yeah, hands down, absolutely. It's, you know, it's what I love about it is, as a bartender, it's my starter bourbon. It's my go-to bourbon for people who've never had bourbon before, and it's also my top-end bourbon. It's for people who have tried all the bourbons in the whole world, want to come back to something that's just classic, really, really high quality, and just characterizes. You know, there's a saying in wine that's you know, wine that's varietally expressive or varietally correct. It's just like a Merlot that just nails what a Merlot is supposed to be. To me, Maker's Mark just nails what bourbon is supposed to be.
I agree. And with your show, I think more people are mixing up cocktails than ever before. I mean, you got to believe that. You got to know you're doing something that's really contributing to the fun of what people are doing.
I don't know if it's because of my show. I'll tell you though, one of the reasons that we do the show is because I do notice that people are mixing up more cocktails than ever before. I get a lot of emails from people. Right at the beginning, I got a guy who told me that they used to get together, them and their friends used to get together at their buddy's pool every single week and make whatever drink we were making on the show. And it was just, you know, it was great to read that because, you know, I think maybe 10, 15 years ago that wasn't the case.
What do you like mixing most? I mean, do you have a favorite, like, signature cocktail that you're like, you know, that's the one?
Yeah, you know, with me it's Manhattan. Most bartenders, the martini is your, you know, that's sort of the drink that you define the bartender by, and being a dark liquor guy and a bourbon guy, Manhattan is, you know, the dark liquor version of the martini. So to me, a really, really well-made Manhattan is the mark of a bartender who really takes a lot of care. And it's amazing, you know, considering that there's only really 2 ingredients, if you like bitters in your Manhattan 3, the variety of quality and styles that you can get just within the Manhattan family, it's unbelievable.
What did you think of our beer, bourbon, and barbecue cocktail?
You know, Tom, I got to tell you, I didn't think it could be done. When you, we just did a blog panel, and he's explaining his drink to me, and to the audience actually. He's explaining and he's going, yeah, and it's got elements of beer, and it's got bourbon, and it's got barbecue, and I'm like, this guy has been drinking a little too much. But I tasted it. I got to tell you, man, as far as creativity and the ability to bring those 3 ingredients together, outstanding, really, really good. And tell them about the foam, the way you dry shake the beer, man. That was ridiculous.
We take a half and we dry shake the beer. We put the foam on top to give that first layer of a musky half. You know, you get that hops, you get that wheat, and that's, you know, you get that first, and then you get the rest of the cocktail, the bourbon and the barbecue and the orange. It's pretty tasty.
Hey, let me ask you a question. What do you think about the bacon bourbon?
I've had several bacon-infused bourbons, and I know there's even a bacon-infused beer from Belgium right now.
Yeah, man, and I know that actually the Brooklyn Brewery guys here in New York just came out with a special limited edition bacon beer. What do you think?
Right. I think it's delicious. I love bacon.
So do I. Who doesn't?
Yeah, and it's, I mean, when you have it with the bourbon, the infusion is just, it's so rich and out of this world. It's just, it's incredible. What do you think?
I think it's ridiculously good. You know, and again, I love when people surprise me with things like that. Was what I loved about your cocktail. You would never think beer, bourbon, barbecue is going to go together, and it goes together at a meal. To be able to put it into one glass is just amazing, and I love that when people surprise me and take something like bacon and bourbon and put them together and it works. It's incredible.
And I think I have an addition for it, because I was sitting here watching you and I was getting inspired watching you do your things. You do it so well. Seriously, and I was thinking about, what if we do a charcoal sugary rim on that martini glass with that cocktail? Wouldn't that be wild? That would be like the ultimate finish.
Oh man, that would be incredible. That would be great. Have you seen the black sugar? There's a gourmet black sugar out there that's actually, carbon gives it its color. So that may be something you can look at.
This is going to become the true American, like, signature spirit. I mean, signature cocktail. The true American signature cocktail that somehow this festival just inspired us to create. It was just kind of a wild brainstorm, and then all of a sudden it happened.
You got to get a name. You got to get a catchy name, something a little dirty.
What do you think?
I have no idea. I'm going to leave that to you. The creator's got to come up with a name, man. But it's got to be, you know, a little double entendre is good with drink names.
Tell us about some of your cocktails. Other cocktails you've done with bourbon, other ways you like having your bourbon?
Yeah, you know, again, I love mixing with bourbon because it does mix really easily, especially a good bourbon like Maker's Mark that isn't too bitter. Although, you know, your traditional bourbons that do have a lot of bitterness to them, you can use that as well. I like bourbon drinks that kind of let the bourbon shine through. I don't like to mask the bourbon, you know, with a whole lot of sweetness or a lot of fruit juices. But one of the things that I am working on that I think is really interesting, and we actually did a couple of Art of the Drink videos on, is a line of drinks that are designed that are supposed to be sort of adult versions of classic soda fountain drinks. And we actually did an alcoholic eggnog, which you can find. We did a vanilla martini that's really, really nice. Looks like Breyer's vanilla ice cream in a glass. And I have 3 or 4 more that are coming out that are sort of soda fountain-y, real kind of desserty, ice creamy, big fun with, you know, all kinds of toppings and straws, and, you know, maybe you can share them. But have some alcohol in them and a little bit more fun than maybe just your standard soda fountain drink. So that's something that I'm kind of working on right now.
I like that. You guys have so much fun with what you do, and you just put fun stuff out there. And now you're taking people back to their childhood with like adult drinks.
Well, you know, if you can't have fun with alcohol, then what's the point, you know? But I got to tell you, you know, one of the things that I love about what you do is the guys like you who just, you know, take something like bourbon and just focus on it and really become experts at it and really kind of dedicate themselves to educating the consumer about that particular liquor. To me, there's not enough of that, because I got to tell you, I do a lot of bar training classes, and one of the things that I always see is even bartenders don't know or appreciate the difference between all the different liquors. What is vodka? What is gin? What are the flavor profiles? And you don't see that in the kitchen. I mean, try and find a chef who doesn't know the difference between chicken and steak. You know, they wouldn't even, you know, get out of culinary school. They wouldn't even get into culinary school. But bartenders, honest to God, the numbers of bartenders out there, and this carries through to the consumer, that can't really put their finger on what makes rum different from vodka. You know, to me, that doesn't do justice to the consumer. So to have a resource like yours on the web is, I got to tell you, man, thank you. On behalf of the industry and all the people that I work with, unbelievable. Really, really helpful.
Thanks, man. It's a pleasure doing it. I mean, you know, it's a real pleasure to be able to drink and work.
Well, there's worse jobs, right?
And thanks so much. This is
My
awesome.
pleasure, man.
We're bringing a culture, a people, and a passion together with one blog. BourbonBlog.com. We only encourage responsible drinking by those who have legal age to drink in their countries or regions. So be safe, be legal, and never drink and drive.